mean, managing and balancing are two very different things. I tell myself that for anyone out there who's a founder, entrepreneur, who is a very multifaceted, multi-hyphenate person, it's about balance, but also giving yourself grace to know that you can't do it all at once. You just align yourself with what needs to get done, what will balance that with happiness and joy, productivity and progress, and just keep moving forward.
Yeah, that's good. And so, speaking of your book club, like, what inspired you to create your book club, and how has it evolved from its inception?
So I have always had a book club, trying to surround myself around community and people who want to read has always been something very central to my life, even when I was in high school, when I was going through college. And as I started moving around for different work occupations or jobs to different cities, I would use it as a tool to meet people. So when I moved to New York, I knew nobody. And I'd bump into people and be like, hey, do you have a book club? Can I join it? I'm starting a book club. So it's interesting now as I fast forward, I'm actually have created this community around it. But I think it's really about forging friendships and using fiction or nonfiction as a way to sort of stimulate conversation and connection.
Yeah, we talk a lot about community on our Creators Talk podcast, but I'm
Mhm.
curious, how do you define community, and how do you also think about fostering community?
So, I mean, community as a definition, it is sort of what you want it to be. For me, I feel like it allows us, whether it's in a virtual community or an actual physical community, and we are sort of going back and forth between both right now, I think, post COVID, but just allowing people to connect. And for us, I think books allow us to sort of forge friendships, conversation, explore different narratives. And share experiences. And sometimes it's wrapped in the guise of fiction or a book. So you're not actually presenting yourself and your real life experiences to a community, but you can sort of do it through a veil that for in our communities as well, for our book club is safe, it's fostering, it's nurturing, but you also sort of have this self-identification, or you're able to just learn about other people and cultures. But I really think it comes down to connection and being able to share thoughts, ideas, reciprocate them, and grow from that conversation.
As well said. And how do you think about selecting books? Because I know there's so many books you can choose from. Like, what types of stories resonate most with your club?
Oh, well, this is a great thing. One of the things that I will sort of pat myself on the back for is I feel like I have successfully, when I started the Tanya Time Book Club, let me back up. I started the Tanya Time Book Club in particular. I've always said I've had book clubs. And I would say pre-pandemic, when I got to Atlanta, I wanted to build community. So I started doing book clubs in my home. And I had a couple very famous authors that lived in my neighborhood. So I started begging them to come to the book club meetings. And they'd be like, okay. So we'd have these fabulous dinners and author dinners, as we would call them. And we'd have everybody who had read the book would come and we'd get to sit around with these authors. And it was incredible. And then the pandemic hit. And I'd been on Real Housewives of Atlanta. So I had this following. We're all stuck inside the house. So I said, who wants to read books with me? And it's funny as a tagline for the Housewives of Atlanta. I would say this now. Like I'm definitely the type of girl that can't read people because I like to read books. Um, and that certainly has proved to be true because I'm not a reader, but I love to read. So I just went on my Instagram, social media channels and was like, guys, I'm reading this book. There's so much I have to say about it. I want to know, is anyone reading it? And all these people piled on and were like, I'm reading this book, or I'd love to read a book together. And so created this community where week by week, I'd post a reading schedule and I would go through the book with people being like, oh my gosh, do you remember when this? I can't believe this girl did this. And we would have this really engaging two-way dialogue. People would be chiming in on the comments, and we have built a community now of 10,000 people that tune in to read together. Thank you. And talk about books. And one of the key features is I always have the author come in for a full spoiler conversation. Not the type when, typically in the book community, in publishing, people have a pub day. It's invariably on a Tuesday and no one's read the book. So you just sort of have this high level conversation. We go full spoilers, like on page 142, why did you make this choice? Or like, I don't like this character. Oh my gosh, I wish she had done something different. And I think that's a beautiful thing because reading isn't a solo sport anymore. We want to read it together and talk about it the same way we talk about movies or TV shows. And so it allows like a really deeper sort of engagement to it.
If you enjoyed that clip, make sure you head over to www.bookupapp.com to download our app so you can connect with your favorite bookish content creators, start conversations, and start your own book club.